What's up, Team Jellyfish? You see this chart here? The ebook's linked below. Every chart you see is on here. You're like, why is this guy calling me a jellyfish? You guys will find out at the end. Now, I started thinking, like, what is a logical progression from pentatonics? Now, I don't know why. This first chart, you see this is an E minor pentatonic, so we're in the key of E minor or G major, and you'll see how we're going to keep moving through this, like, from a beginner to an advanced level. I don't know why, but is it me? You guys definitely drop in the comments. I don't know what skill level you are, but I'm betting most of you are beginner intermediates. But if you're advanced, let me know. Why is that like the default first position we're always taught? I was taught that scale position 30 years ago. That was the very first scale I was shown. And of course it's useful, but what happens is we get stuck in these we hit plateaus because we're not shown everything that's inside of everything, and that's what I'm aiming to do here, all right? So even this is kind of the idea of how a beginner moves through a pentatonic progression to an advanced player. I'm going to show you everything an advanced player sees that a beginner doesn't even know is there. They might just be happy noodling away right here and going back down to the open E minor and G. But this is probably how a total beginner sees it, and this is probably the first scale. Let's go to the next chart. Boop. Again, grab the ebook link below. Now, if you are a beginner, low intermediate, or whatever, everything I show you is just a framework. You don't have to do everything I put in here. I've seen people in the past like there's too much. I tell you every time, pick what works for you. I'm just giving you stuff to add to your catalog. Now, you see here as a beginner progresses, they might add another pentatonic position. So maybe they add this pink one, okay? And those of you that have been here know I usually add a lot of colors to the charts, but I also want to kind of point out the fact that a beginner, they don't see these colors, right? They don't know how to build delicious cupcakes for your ears yet, but you will. Stick with me. So let me ask you guys this. Did anybody here watching this video, were you ever shown this pink position, right? This pink minor pentatonic. This E minor pentatonic. Were you ever shown that as your first pentatonic position? I'm betting you're probably shown that nice and tidy from the low E, but this is from the A string, okay? Now, so you might add a few more positions, but let's kind of skip past those and let's move as we're really progressing here. Now, this is more of like an intermediate thing, even though I put an advanced player most likely sees the bar chord inside of the pentatonic. Now, this was that very first pentatonic position I wrote in orange, but I didn't write out the whole scale because what I did is I put the bar chord, E minor, and then inside of that you have the E minor triad, E, G, B. Now you guys know that have been on this channel and that keep coming back, I hammer bar chords to triads and I always will. It's kind of like the bread and butter and it just keeps the rhythmic flow going. It's a great exercise. So I want you to practice bar chord to triad, okay? E minor bar to E minor triad. Now, take that pentatonic position and throw a little lick in there like this. This may be the only thing you do out of this lesson, and that's fine. So, gotta walk before you can run. All right, almost lost, train almost derailed there. Keep that rhythm going, all right. So let's go to the next chart, whoop. Now, this makes perfect sense. You guys see how we're connecting the dots here. We're doing right out of this pink, right, position here, that pentatonic I showed you, it's in the chart, second page, okay? But I need you to see, light bulb moment for some of us, for many of us, we already know it's cool, bar chord to triad. Another E minor, bar chord to triad, and right there's your little... And if you mess up, you can just yell shank or jazz. Either one works, okay? So that's the minor pentatonic, but bar chord, triad. Bar chord, triad, lick. Okay, now look, if you're a total beginner, I'm gonna say this, or an intermediate, what's more important, less is more. So rhythm is king or queen, okay? If you do this bar chord to this triad, let's just say you take the E to the B, a fifth, an interval of a fifth. There's your bonus cherry on top there, okay? So just keep the rhythm going like this, watch. Okay, bar chord to triad. Now, does that sound the coolest? Maybe not, but maybe so, but it's functional and it keeps you rhythm. Then start branching out and adding more out of the pentatonic. Now, I'm gonna stay on this chart, but the last one I showed you, this bar chord up here, where they had the orange pentatonic position, You could practice weaving between those. Maybe this is like high beginner, low intermediate. I don't know. It's so broad. There's really no way to kind of classify it. See how I kind of just did a bend? I was probably losing my train of thought, but I didn't derail, did it? All right, so that is, see, we're upping the ante. We weaved a couple of pentatonics. We did some harmony because we did the bar chord to the triad. Let's move on. Now is where we're going to kind of close out this lesson, and it gets even deeper and deeper, all right? Now, this right here, don't let this whole modal thing scare you away. In the top left of the chart, you see I wrote B, lowercase Roman numeral 3. This is the third mode out of the key of G major. If I went G, A, B, 1, 2, 3, this is where we're gonna play B Phrygian. But this is like, you see how I wrote in the bottom left, some advanced players see the pentatonic inside of B Phrygian and understand how it's related to the key of G. B Phrygian is the third mode of G. Now, if that sounded like wah, 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 see your ears, like Charlie Brown's teacher. I think I'm dating myself there, but Charlie Brown's a legend. You'll know that it's okay. You're gonna get this theory part. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna assume that you can't do it. I'm gonna assume that you can. But if you noticed, there's that pink pentatonic position, okay? So what does this do for you? How does this make you start to move up to a more advanced user of the pentatonic? Well, because really what you're doing is you're blending penta 5, B, D, E, G, A. You see how I wrote it in pink inside of the Phrygian scale I read out in the top left? The only thing that would be omitted from the penta, the E minor penta, is the C and F sharp. But you have now the whole Phrygian scale to try that. So again, you need to know this because I showed you what's right here. There's that E minor bar to the triad, and then you could run a little lick out of the B Phrygian scale, or you could start it somewhere else. Modes are nothing but moods. They're just different flavors. This is just B. See this chart you're looking at, this B Phrygian? I've done some lessons on this. Go back and watch them. They're on the channel. It's just a rearranged major scale. It's all the same notes. They're all the same. I'm just starting from B, okay? So, watch. Bar chord, triad. Bar chord, it's real simple. Bar chord, triad. So, think of it this way. A beginner might learn this pentatonic position really great, okay? And then what happens is they burn this in their brain to a level where they almost get stuck in it. They have these flavor notes there. You have F sharp and C, okay? You have another F sharp and C here. You have a C here. So those come out of B Phrygian. So you have other flavors to add in. And that's where you start making your pentatonics not sound so much like pentatonics, right? But you've got to walk before you can run. If you're confused, drop a comment. I'll help you. Lots of people on here will help you. We're Team Jellyfish. We help each other, all right? We're all drifting around. Right now we're drifting around in the sea of B Phrygian. But let's leave that sea. Let's drift into another cove. Whoop. Sorry, is that cheesy? I'm giving you the sea creature jellyfish talk here. All right, this is the cherry on top. Grand finale. Here's some little fireworks, all right? On the top left, I want you to connect that G Ionian major. Ionian's your fancy modal name. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. We're in the key of G, okay? And then E, lowercase, Roman numeral 6. That's the relative minor Aeolian or the natural minor. I know it's a mouthful, but I wrote out for you. I kept in orange. There's that original, okay? There's that original minor pentatonic. It's almost like we're circling back home, okay? Now, all E natural minor is it's like, think of it as like the beefed up pentatonic. You're adding back in the C and F sharp. So we run the scale, run the whole Aeolian scale, okay? Back. All right, so I wrote the same thing. I wrote pretty much the same. Some advanced players see the pentatonic inside of Aeolian and understand how it's related to the key of G. Aeolian is the 6th mode of G. All right, so again, if you don't want to learn any of that stuff, you don't have to, but I'm going to give it to you because there are a lot of you that do want to know it. I'm always the believer that knowledge is power, and it's empowering when you know this stuff and you're on the fly, you're improvising, and you just know this. So you guys see all this stuff that is around inside of these pentatonics. That is how you can up your game. All right, so just practice this. So what if you, in this one right here, same thing, okay? And we'll wrap this up. You could do E minor, bar to triad, and then you could run a lick if you want to keep it just, you know, with just the pentatonics. Or if you want to go to the next level, throw in some of those notes and start emphasizing some of the moods of the Aeolian, right? So watch. Now, what did I do there? You know what I kind of did? I thought to myself, I'm going to start on the F sharp, and I'm going to emphasize that. Okay, so. All right, so there you go. You've got a whole bunch of stuff to work on. I know we kind of stayed right in E minor pentatonics, but we want to kind of less is more. I didn't want to branch out too much. We could have brought in like G major scales, but this is how we're going to weave all of this together over time. All right, drop your favorite sea creature or drop Jellyfish in the comments. Definitely tell us where you're watching from. Grab the ebook, bookmark chapters in here, rewind. Just take a little piece, build it up. If you can take the whole enchilada here and do something really creative and use your musicality, go for it. Only you can stop you. You won't stop. I will see you in the next video. Hit that like button to share this and help as many people as we can. And if you're new, you guys know what button to hit. I'd love to keep you and have you be part of the team. Peace.